Today we're going to be using the table feature in Microsoft Word. I am going to show you how it will look and create it using the desktop version, and then we'll do it online because it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to create a fancy table, and we don't always have those features with the online version. So we're going to start out. And I'm going to read, I'm using the directions that will be uploaded. And so I've created a new document, and this is going to be called Table 1. So I'm going to save it. And for now, I'm just going to put mine on my desktop. So this is Table 4-1, and then you should add your initials. The next step says create a table with 9 rows and 4 columns. So the cool thing about tables is even if you don't know how many rows and columns that you need, you can always come back and add more later. So here's our insert button. We're going to go to insert. We're going to insert a table, and it said 9 by 4. I'm just going to get us started. I'm not going to count out 9 because, like I said, we can easily add tables. And cells, columns, rows, whatever we need. Step 5 says key the text shown in figure 4.1 in the table, leaving the first cell blank. For convenience, after you key the first set of months, copy the text to the cells at the bottom of the column. So we're going to type this information in here. Each individual little square here is called a cell. Notice that we do have 2 new contextual tabs that pop up. One is designing our table, and one is everything else we want to add, subtract, the way we want to arrange our text. Lots and lots of features that we can use with tables. So we're first just going to type in here. I'm going to use the tab key to jump from cell to cell. Again, I'm just hitting the tab key. It's jumping for me. If I make a mistake and need to go back, I can do Shift Tab, and it will take me back to a cell. So Tab goes forward, Shift Tab goes back. I'm going to select January through October, and I'm going to copy it, Control C. So I just clicked and dragged over those. I'm going to click on here to paste it, and it's going to automatically put those rows and columns to add that information, and I don't have to retype those again. So hopefully I spelled them correctly the first time. Did I get them all? So now I just have to get my numbers in here. So the fastest way for me using a full keyboard is just to tab over and type them in. Whoops, I did that one again. Let's see, January. That's pretty. Whoops, we went too far. Again, I'm just typing this right from the document. All right, once that's typed, we're going to follow the step-by-step directions. So step 6 says merge the cell that contains Santa Fe with the 3 blank cells below it. So we're going to actually merge this so it's one cell. So I'm going to highlight Santa Fe and the 3 cells below it. Just click and drag straight down. I'm going to right-click, and I can merge cells. Now, I can also merge cells under the layout up here with merge cells right here. By merging those cells, now the computer considers that one cell instead of 4. Step 6A, do the same for the cell that contains Taos and the blank cells below it. Merging those cells. change the entire table to 16-point Arial and the row height at least 0.45. So whenever we're working in a table, we're always going to see this four-headed arrow up here in the top left-hand corner. Sometimes it doesn't appear, but if you roll over it in the top left-hand corner, it should show up. By clicking on that, I select everything in my table, and I'm going to change this to 16-point Arial. So I'm going to go back to home, go down to 16-point, and I want to change this to Arial font. And the row height to at least 0.45 inches. So row height is going to be over here in my table. I can stretch it here. My table tools here for the layout. So here's my height. Here's my width. So I want this to be 0.45. I'm going to type 0.45, hit the tab key, and it changes them all. So they're a little bit thicker. Step 8 says center the table text vertically within the cells. So normally when we center horizontally, it'll just say center. Okay, but if it wants us to center vertically, that's up and down in the cells. So again, in our table tools layout over here, we have all of our different alignment buttons where we can arrange our text. And we want to center the text vertically. It does not say anything about horizontally. So we are going to align our center text vertically, but we're not changing the horizontal alignment. So notice that the text now, there's spaces above and below in each cell. So it centered it. Step 9, use the column markers or the column borders to adjust the second column to 1.25 inches wide. So this is my second column. So columns go up and down, rows go across. Okay, so columns are vertical, rows are horizontal. And I'm going to select my second column. And if I go right above that column, I should get an arrow that points down. It's going to select that column for me, and I can change it. So I can actually I could click and drag it, or I can highlight this and type in 1.25 and then hit my tab key or enter, and it should automatically select that. Okay, the third and fourth columns need to be changed to 1 inch wide according to step 9A. So I'm going to highlight both of them at the same time so I can change them all at once. And we want to change these to 1 inch. Okay. Step 10, change the direction of Santa Fe so it reads from the bottom to the top of the cell. So I'm going to click in Santa Fe here. This is a cool feature, Word, the desktop version of Word only. And it has our text directions here. So if I flip that, now I'm reading from the top to the bottom. Here I'm reading from the bottom up, and that's what it's asking for, from the bottom of the cell to the top of the cell. And we need to do, let's see, step 10A, we're going to change our font to 26 point. That would have been fast. 26 point bold. And we want to format Taos the same way. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to use this format painter. Remember that I have my text. I can even just click on the text. I don't have to select it. Click on the format painter once and then highlight Taos, and it's going to change it. Now, the only thing it didn't do was our text direction. So I'm just going to click on that till our text is lining up from the bottom of the cell to the top. 10B was format Taos the same way. Step 11, change the first column to 0.75 inches wide. So I'm going to select this first column here, and I only want it to be 0.75, so it's a little small. Then step 12 says center align the text in columns 1, 3, and 4. Notice it didn't say horizontally center because we're used to hearing when it's center, it's horizontal. So we are going to center align the text in columns 1. So I can do that right here. So I'm still centering it vertically. So I'm not changing that. I'm just centering the text in the cell. So I'm clicking that one, and I need columns 1, and I already did that one, 3 and 4. So we're going to highlight 3 and 4 and center the text for that one. Step 13, insert a new row at the top of the table. There's lots of steps, so we're going to break it down. First of all, we're going to insert a new table or a new row. So I can do this numerous ways. So I right-clicked over here. It selects that whole row. I can do it up here where it says insert above, or I could right-click and insert. It's pretty easy to add new rows and columns. So then it says to merge those cells. So I'm going to merge those cells. Again, I could right-click to do that. And I'm going to key the title, average temperatures. And it wants me to change these to 24 point, bold, and small caps. So the only way you're going to get small caps is if you're using the desktop version, and you can click on the expand button to get small caps. It's a nice feature. Step 14, change the font color of the second row to white. As soon as we do this, we will no longer be able to see that text. Okay. But then 14A says, apply black shading to the row. So if I come up here to my paragraph shading and I say black shading, now I can see my text. So I've got reverse text. 15, apply a 25% gray shading to the first row. So I'm going to select my first row and go to 25% shading. 35, 25. 16, this one can kind of get complicated when we're adding borders. So 16 says add a half point double line black outside border to the table. So I'm going to select my entire table and I'm going to open up my borders and shading. Okay, so the preview's over here. It's going to show me what's going to happen. And I want it to be a box, so it's outside. It needs to be a double black line. So we're going to find the double black line here. Did I miss it? I think I missed it. Not sure why these are all interesting. Double line. Thinking mine's not showing my double lines today. It's very weird. So I guess we'll just grab this one, a double line. And so it'll show you how it's going to look. And I'm going to click OK. So I added a nice thick border around my edge. Now we're going to center the table vertically and horizontally. So if I select the whole table and click on the center button, it will not change the text. It will center the whole table, which is cool. But you got to make sure you select the whole thing. If I didn't, then it would center my text, which we had all but this column centered. Now we also want to center horizontally, or that's horizontally. We need to center vertically on the page, which we learned earlier in one of the module trainings. So if we click on layout, we can go to page setup, layout, and here's my page vertical alignment. Most documents we want it started at the top. This one we want to center vertically. And it's going to center my table vertically in that page. If I shrink that down, you can see we have a nice advanced table. Enjoy.